I am Governor of Virginia, and we are gathered in this place to call upon all those loyal to the crown to put down this rebellion and bring Virginia back to its proper state of lawfulness.
A word for the governor? Yes, we'd like him to leave our area, for he is causing nothing but havoc and turmoil. He knows nothing of military tactics, and he will soon learn that the rebels, as he so calls them, the true patriots of this country, are about to drive him away.
Yes, I have a word for Colonel Woodford. I think Colonel Woodford would look particularly good with a rope around his neck.
Well, he's always saying that I'm just hanging around, and the trouble of that is I'll be here long after he's gone.
Governor Dunmore, long may he run from the Virginia militia.
My name is Larry Daly. I'm a corporal. I'm the adjutant for the 7th Virginia. I do the paperwork for the company. I'm working on the daily returns here, which is a list of all those who are present, fit for action, on sick leave, deserted, dead in the last 24 hours. Any changes are written down here, along with their names and their ranks. And so these inform every officer in the regiment what their strength is in every given day.
We pray that the soldiers will fight bravely. Wounds and deaths will be few, and that the Lord's victory will be done. I'm one of those Anglican loyalists who has changed sides to the Patriots.
See a lot of smoke, huh? Yeah. Imagine if we really had all 900 to 1,400 out here on this battlefield right now. All the smoke that would be here. Some of you may have heard the term the fog of war. Well, the mental problem of the fog of war, but also it's the haze. You can hardly see anything. Again, color means a lot. Red, easy to spot, that kind of stuff. But I like that. It's a good target. And you notice they're coming across the bridge, and they happen to be coming 5 abreast, but the maximum was 6 abreast on that bridge. That causes major problem. The major problem there is it's not the normal formation they're used to doing. They're used to using this long line, coming out 3 ranks, dropping down, massive fire down range. They're forced to neck down to 6 ranks coming across that bridge. They can't get into their normal battlefield tactical position, so they actually launch the attack in a formation they're not familiar with. That causes a problem for the Brits. You notice they're trying to reconstitute once they get across the bridge, major formation, and therefore we're having them start to return the fire and start firing onto the American. Now the American forces are returning some fire. Later on, as the attack really gets going, you'll notice that the Americans stop firing. And that's because we gave a command to hold fire until they were close. Why do I want to hold fire till they're close? It is a round-best musket we're using. It is very ineffective at about 70 yards, 75 yards. Has a hit-miss radius of 6 feet. So we're going to wait and do a volley fire when they're in close, and you'll see what happens. I heard some snippers there because that one just had a flash in the pan. You notice it puffed the smoke, but you didn't hear the boom. That's a flash in the pan. That means there's an obstruction between the firing pan and the hole or the vent that goes into the barrel, which will ignite the powder and cover the wall. So there's your first term of the day. Won't go off, flash in the pan. Fire is that it doesn't spark at all, and you'll see somebody out there, I'm sure. They'll pull the trigger, it won't spark. There's no flash in the pan. That's called a misfire. That's because he didn't get a spark. Now he has to clean his flint or wipe his prison off and get ready to do it again, so he gets a spark. Grenadiers are moving out now under Forsyth. Forsyth gets shot twice. He goes down on his knee, he gets back up, and he continues on. He gets hit the second time, he goes down again, he gets back up, and he continues on. Colonel Bullock, who's over there on my left, my left flank, tells the Culpeper militia, watch that man. Well, they do. When he gets within arm's distance of the barricades, we won't put him that close for safety reasons, but he actually got almost within arm's distance of the barricades. He was shot and killed, and when they found his body later, he had 17 bullet holes in him. The Culpeper militia were known for their marksmanship capabilities. And you see what happened when they got in close and we held the fire and fired all at once on a volley fire. The Grenadiers basically almost wiped out the entire Grenadier. They are the toughest, strongest, biggest fighters in the whole outfit. When they go down, everybody else starts retreating. As they retreat, the Culpeper militia continue to move along their side, and they, with their rifles, start marksmanship, cutting them down as they go back. Now, what were our casualties during this battle? American side. One officer gets a shot in the thumb. Like I said, American side, one guy gets shot in the thumb. British side, you saw what happened to the regiment. They estimate about 102 killed, more wounded. We don't know the total number. British claim less, Americans claim more. You know, it's one of those things. You don't know exactly. The numbers of 62, 102, and more have been. What we do know is that as I went forward later and I saw the bridge, it was covered with blood. It was covered with blood. So we know there was a lot of casualties and wounded. They pulled most of their wounded back with them. Those that they couldn't move with them because of this annihilation, the Americans came up and checked them. Now what Dunmore had told them, because these were the Culpeper militia, they were from the frontier, that they would scalp them when if they weren't dead, they would scalp them and kill them. So they were actually screaming, "Don't scalp me," the British that were wounded. Ended up happening is the Americans took all the British wounded back behind their lines, put them in hospitals, and took care of them until they were well. The American forces moved forward. They got as far as the bridge and the barricade, and they stopped at that position because I did not want my people to go into the fort. When the fort was a fortification, they could return fire. I had also heard rumors that there was between 300 and 500 additional people from the city and Africans there that were prepared. So I thought it might be a trap, so I did not go any further than this. We had won the battlefield, we had pushed them back in there, and we had given them heavy casualties, so we were waiting to see what happened. You'll notice that the Reverend and the women of the Army are coming out to work on and take care of the wounded and minister to them. They will also take care of the dead's equipment. Take off shoes, clothes, weapons, all the accessories that they can use, because we can use that in our army. Take care of it. It was at this time that we went forward and talked to Captain Leslie under a flag of truce and asked to have ceasefire so we could take care of the wounded and dead on the battlefield. We didn't have any, they had a whole bunch. He agreed to that. That's when we took care of the dead and wounded. That night, because he had been beaten back so bad, Leslie decides that he's going to move and evacuate the entire fort and goes back into Norfolk, dragging his tail behind him with all of the wounded and everything else.
Our
contrary to popular belief, the early battles of the American Revolution were all fought in the North, which is not totally true. The Battle of Great Bridge is considered the second Bunker Hill, the southern Bunker Hill by many historians, and it is not generally well known. And certainly that is our intent. The Great Bridge Waterways History Foundation intent is to let the world know that there was a battle here and that the battle was equally as important. The importance of the Patriot victory here was very significant, and the Patriots' cause, it led directly to the British excavation of Virginia and the loss of Norfolk as a base of military operations in the South. It also restored the Patriots' southern supply line between Virginia and the southern colonies. You know, the only land route at that time to the city of Norfolk ran through what is now Great Bridge and the causeway that crossed the southern branch to the Kempsville around the eastern branch and on to Princess Anne Road into Norfolk. And anyone coming from the west or the south had to come through Great Bridge. Whoever had control of this causeway, therefore, would ultimately hold Norfolk, the largest city and port on the east coast between New York and Charleston.
None of us realize how close we were to the new dawn in history. The American people shortly after that have stood shoulder to shoulder in the struggles against totalitarianism worldwide. Hundreds of millions of people, as we speak at this very moment, are free, breathe free, because of the Americans and the British. Whether the struggle is against fascism or communism or bloody genocide, Americans and their friends the British have virtually stood alone. We all shudder to think what our world would be like, what our lives would be like if the enemies of freedom had prevailed. Although Churchill, hero of mine, a Britisher, used these famous words to describe the effects of the Royal Air Force during the dark days of 1940 and 41, they apply today. As we talk about this group here and the group that fought for our freedom and our independence, never have so many owed so much to so few. Ladies and gentlemen, may the sun never set on the friendship between America and Britain. God bless America, and God bless our British friends. Merry Christmas. Thank you.